Ferrari have just released their 2025 upgrade schedule and will prioritize the new SF25 car for at least the first 4 months of F1 2025 before shifting its focus to Project 678 for the 2026 season. According to a fresh source from Italy, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc are expected to have a solid start to the season, after the SF24 looked to be the best or second best car at most track at the end of the last season. The F1 2025 season will be the final year of current regulations, with probably the most significant rule changes in the sport's history, including a transition to 50% electrification, totally sustainable fuels, and active aerodynamics, coming in 2026. It has forced teams to choose between enhancing their current car and committing an increasing quantity of resources to next year's model. However, Ferrari have found a way to still focus on this year's success. The F1 budget cap, as well as the aerodynamic research restrictions put on teams under the sport's sliding scale for advancement, are likely to have a significant impact on how quickly each rival turns off the tap for F1 2025. F1 has used a sliding scale for aerodynamic testing since the start of the 2021 season, with the order dependent on each team's position in the constructors' standings. It means that the team in last position in the constructors' standings will receive significantly more aerodynamic research time, including wind tunnel runs and CFD work, than the title winners, with the goal of increasing competition among the sport's 10 teams. The sliding scale is adjusted twice a year, on January 1st to match the final order of the previous year's constructors' standings, and again on July 1st to reflect the level of play halfway through each season. Ferrari, who finished second in the F1 2024 constructors' standings, has a maximum of 900 hours in the wind tunnel for the first half of F1 2025, 60 more than reigning champions McLaren and 60 less than Red Bull, which dropped to third last year. According to Auto Racer, Ferrari technical director Loic Serra has made a cautious plan for managing the team's resources after starting the transfer to the team's 2026 car, codenamed Project 678, last month. According to reports, Serra has already selected a small group of engineers to work exclusively on Project 678 in the background, with the F1 2025 car remaining the priority. The SF25 is expected to be the team's primary focus for at least the first 4 months of the season, until the necessity to transition to the F1 2026 car becomes more essential. Ferrari's decision to deploy a variety of innovative concepts, including a pull rod front suspension structure previously employed by Red Bull and McLaren, has prompted the team to continue with the SF25 car for as long as feasible. The FIA's imminent technical directive at the Spanish Grand Prix, which will further restrict the usage of so-called flexi wings, has also compelled Ferrari to continue developing the 2025 car. The Ferrari team principal, Fred Vasseur, recently announced that the SF25 will be a completely new car compared to its predecessor, which fell just 14 points short of securing the Scuderia's first world championship since 2008. He said, "The car will be completely new. I think we'll have less than 1% of the parts in common with the 2024 car. It's a different project. If it will be competitive, we'll find out in Bahrain, pre-season testing." Sometimes you don't realize you're taking risks until afterwards. Ferrari has also announced that it will introduce its 2025 Formula One car on February 19th at the Fiorano test circuit in Maranello. While teams strive to reduce overall development effort in 2025 in order to focus on the 2026 vehicles for F1's big regulations revision, Ferrari has promised significant upgrades. While such percentage new parts assertions are obviously made on the fly with a lack of precision, the fact that the 24 car was described as 95% new last year demonstrates how far Ferrari is pushing. At Ferrari's traditional end-of-season media lunch, Vasseur confirmed the car's 2025 debut date and gave some details about Ferrari's approach to the vehicle. While there will be many evolutionary features, Ferrari is expected to be aggressive in its approach. We'll know in pre-season testing venue Bahrain Vasseur said, when asked how many risks Ferrari is taking with the 2025 car. Sometimes you don't feel that you are taking risks, and you realize a bit later that was very risky. Ferrari's Fiorano debut will take place one day after the F1 season kickoff event at London's O2 Arena on February 18th. Drivers Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton will appear, as will Vasseur, but what is shown will be a demonstration car in the 2025 livery. The true 2025 car will be revealed the next day at a behind-closed-doors ceremony at Fiorano. The car will then be sent to Bahrain for pre-season testing. Vasseur emphasized that Ferrari had no plans to make a big fuss out of Hamilton's first run in one of its cars, which will take place prior to the launch, alongside TPC runs, testing of previous cars, and a Pirelli tyre test scheduled for before the launch and pre-season testing. He wants Hamilton and Ferrari to be focused on preparing for what he thinks will be a title-winning season. "No, we have to be focused on the season," Vasseur replied, when asked how Hamilton's initial runs in Ferraris were handled. "It will be a very tight period between the first day and launch. It's a matter of weeks, and I want to have everybody focus on performance. We will have the launch of the championship. We will have the launch of the car. For me, it's already 2 events, and it's far too much. It's far enough. I want to be focused on development performance and not to do the show." Vasseur isn't getting carried away with any favourite tags, despite Ferrari's excellent finish to the 2024 season, which saw it score more points than any other team following the summer break. "I don't care because you can be the favourite in January, February, but if you are not there on the first race, everybody will forget this," claimed Vasseur. "I think that the fight between the top 4, I think it's changing from race to race, from perhaps track to track, compound to compound, or temperature to temperature. It means that every single parameter is making a huge difference. When you have 4 teams and it's 1 or 2 tenths, the fact that we were in a good shape in November won't impact the result of Melbourne 2025. We have to start from scratch. For sure, we have a reference, but it will be a new fight, a new championship, and from January, I will have a look on the future and Melbourne, and not what we did 2 months before. So, will Ferrari's project 677 be successful this year? And above all, who of the drivers will have the upper hand? According to Eddie Jordan, it has to be Charles Leclerc. He has pushed Charles Leclerc to use his Ferrari experience to gain an advantage against Lewis Hamilton early on. With 8 Grand Prix wins and a best championship result of 2nd place in 2022, Leclerc pales in comparison to Hamilton, who has 105 Grand Prix wins and 7 titles. However, Leclerc cannot be considered the inferior driver at this moment and will present a hard task for Hamilton to overcome. Not only is Leclerc regarded as a champion in waiting by many fans and pundits, but he has been a member of Ferrari's F1 team for 7 years, having progressed through the junior levels as an academy driver. Leclerc is thus very much a Ferrari product and is well liked within the business. The challenge for him will be to ensure that Hamilton does not arrive and immediately assume a leadership role in the team, reducing Leclerc's chances, and former F1 team boss Eddie Jordan believes the Monegasque must use his momentum in Ferrari to gain an early advantage over Hamilton. Leclerc is there now 7 years. He knows everybody, Jordan said on the Formula for Success podcast. He knows all the people and what to say, the language. He's the darling of Maranello. However, he will be surprised. I think he had a certain way with him over Carlos Sainz. But, as far as I'm concerned, I think Lewis will hit the ground running. Well, I think it will take him 2 or 3 races. I would urge Leclerc to get on his bike in the early stage because that's when Leclerc is going to show certain amounts of dominance. As Hamilton gets more at ease in Ferrari, the threat to Leclerc's position as a result of his dominance grows. As the season unfolds, as the people show more and more love for Lewis, Jordan said, particularly the Italian fraternity and the Tifosi, but also the country, because this is a national team. I really think Lewis wants to and will embrace the love that it projects. What do you think? Will Leclerc or Hamilton be Ferrari's #1 driver at the end of the season? And are they able to win it all? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.